On a foggy Sunday morning in Southern California, a helicopter carrying 9 people disappeared into the hills above Calabasas. Among those on board was Kobe Bryant, one of basketball's greatest players, and his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna. Within hours, the news had spread across the world. Kobe Bryant was dead at the age of 41. The tragedy shocked millions and raised difficult questions about the flight, the weather, and the decisions made that morning. January 26, 2020, Southern California. A helicopter carrying 9 people disappeared into thick morning fog above the hills of Calabasas. Minutes later, it crashed into a hillside. There were no survivors. Among those on board was Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest basketball players in history. He was 41 years old. His daughter, Gianna, was also among the victims. She was 13. The news spread rapidly. Fans refused to believe it. Players broke down during games. Tributes appeared around the world. But almost immediately, difficult questions emerged. What caused the helicopter to crash? Why did the flight continue in dangerous weather conditions? And how did a routine trip become one of the most shocking tragedies in sports history? To understand what happened that morning, we have to look at the final chapter of Kobe Bryant's life. Kobe Bryant wasn't simply a basketball player. He was a competitor, a champion, a symbol of dedication. After entering the NBA directly from high school in 1996, Kobe spent his entire 20-year career with the Los Angeles Lakers. He won 5 NBA championships, 2 Olympic gold medals, an MVP award, and became one of the greatest scorers the game had ever seen. His work ethic became legendary. He called it the Mamba mentality. To millions of fans, Kobe represented discipline, determination, and relentless improvement. When he retired in 2016, he left basketball as one of its most respected figures. But retirement became the beginning of a new chapter. Following his retirement, Kobe focused on family, business, and storytelling. He won an Academy Award for his animated short film, Dear Basketball. He invested in businesses. He coached youth sports. Most importantly, he spent more time with his wife and daughters. Among them was Gianna, affectionately known as Gigi. She shared her father's passion for basketball, and Kobe frequently coached her AAU team, known as Team Mamba. Many believed he had found a new purpose after basketball. His focus had shifted from championships to fatherhood. On Sunday morning, Kobe, Gianna, and several other families prepared to travel to a youth basketball tournament in Thousand Oaks, at what was then called the Mamba Sports Academy. To avoid Southern California traffic, Kobe frequently chartered helicopters for the trip. The aircraft that morning was a Sikorsky 76B, flown by Ara Zobayan, an experienced pilot who had flown Kobe for years, and was his preferred pilot for these trips. Weather conditions, however, were challenging. Low clouds and patches of dense fog covered parts of the Los Angeles area. Several local law enforcement agencies had grounded their own helicopters that morning due to poor visibility. The flight proceeded anyway. At approximately 9:07 a.m., the helicopter departed John Wayne Airport in Orange County, bound for Camarillo Airport, about 24 miles from the accident site. The trip was expected to take roughly 30 to 40 minutes. It never arrived. As the helicopter flew northwest along Highway 101, it stayed at a relatively low altitude, below the cloud layer. As it approached rising terrain near Calabasas, visibility grew worse. About 2 minutes before the crash, the pilot told air traffic control he was climbing to get above the clouds. The helicopter began climbing rapidly and at the same time started turning left. Air traffic control asked the pilot to confirm his intentions. He replied that he was climbing to 4,000 feet. In fact, the helicopter was no longer climbing. It was banking steeply to the left and descending at a rate of more than 4,000 feet per minute. Seconds later, traveling at close to 184 miles per hour, the aircraft struck a hillside in Calabasas. The impact was catastrophic. Emergency responders arrived quickly, but there were no survivors. 9 people lost their lives that morning. The National Transportation Safety Board launched a detailed investigation that lasted more than a year. Investigators found no evidence of mechanical failure. The helicopter's engines and controls were functioning normally. Instead, the investigation focused on weather and human decision-making. The NTSB concluded that the probable cause of the crash was the pilot's decision to continue flying under visual flight rules into conditions that required flying by instruments alone, conditions he was not authorized to fly in. This led to spatial disorientation, a state in which a pilot loses the ability to sense the aircraft's true orientation once visual references like the horizon disappear. Investigators also pointed to contributing factors: the pilot's likely self-induced pressure to complete the flight for a high-profile client, a tendency known as plan continuation bias, the urge to stick to a plan even as conditions deteriorate, and inadequate safety oversight by the helicopter's operator, Island Express Helicopters. The final report made clear that this was a crash caused by weather and human factors, not a mechanical failure. The reaction was immediate. NBA games became emotional tributes. Players cried during interviews. Fans gathered outside what is now Crypto.com Arena, formerly Staples Center, where Kobe had played his entire career. Murals appeared on walls across cities around the world. Athletes from every sport expressed their grief. For many people, the loss felt deeply personal. Kobe had spent 2 decades inspiring fans with his dedication and determination. His sudden death felt impossible to accept. The crash claimed 9 lives. Alongside Kobe and Gianna were baseball coach John Altobelli, his wife Kerry, and their daughter Alyssa, Sarah Chester and her daughter Peyton, basketball coach Christina Mauser, and pilot Ara Zobayan. Entire families were affected. The loss extended far beyond basketball, into communities who lost parents, daughters, coaches, and friends all at once. For Kobe, by all accounts, one of the greatest joys of his life after retirement had been sharing the game with his daughter. Many saw in their relationship a glimpse of what might have come next, a father passing his love of basketball on to the next generation. Kobe Bryant's legacy extends far beyond championships. He inspired millions through his work ethic. His Mamba mentality became a philosophy embraced by athletes, students, entrepreneurs, and professionals around the world. His influence continues in basketball. His stories continue to inspire. His commitment to excellence remains part of how he's remembered. The crash also led to real changes. Renewed calls from the NTSB for better training on recognizing spatial disorientation and for crash-resistant flight recorders in helicopters like the one Kobe was flying. Kobe Bryant's death shocked the world because it happened at a moment when his life seemed to be entering a new chapter. He had already conquered basketball. He was becoming a mentor, a storyteller, and a father devoted to his family. The crash that claimed his life also took the lives of 8 others: Gianna, John, Kerry, and Alyssa, Altobelli, Sarah and Peyton Chester, Christina Mauser, and Ara Zobayan, leaving behind families, friends, and communities forever changed. Kobe Bryant's legacy can't be measured only in championships or statistics. It lives on in a mindset, a determination, an example that continues to inspire people far outside the world of basketball. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.